Hi everyone and welcome. I'm thrilled to have today with me Guido Barbero. He is the CISO of IVECO, and I let him introduce himself before we jump into our conversation today. Guido, it's a very pleasure to have you with me. Do you want to share a little bit about yourself? How long have you been with IVECO? What's your background? What's your current role?
Hi, Giuseppe, everybody. Thanks for this opportunity. I work in the field of security since 2000, more or less. So I've experienced a lot of evolution in the field of IT security, cybersecurity, and so on. Taking different role in the former Fiat Group, I was coordinator for the information security for the Bull Group. And in the past years, I kept the role for CNH Industria and now IVECO Group. In my responsibility, we have all the, let's say, traditional stuff of the IT security, so protection technology, monitoring, detection, identity management, risk compliance, methodology, and so on. And as a new challenges for us, we also introduced the cybersecurity for the so-called connected vehicle, so all the what is called the digital world. So we are responsible for what's surrounding the vehicle and all the methodology and the test and the system for the protection and the detection of the vehicle.
That's wonderful. Now, in our conversation, we will touch upon things like ransomware that are disrupting the fleet operations, also talking a little bit about emerging risks that are tied to the electrification that the industry is going through, and also maybe having a conversation about a few specific topics that we want to share with the audience here. Now, in order to set the stage, and from your experience now, it's 25 plus years as a CISO and also of a leading commercial OEM, what makes securing commercial fleets particularly different compared to passenger cars, or in many ways, is there another urgency or angle to look at it?
Yes, so there are some differences. Basically, is the impact for the customer, the end user, let's say, because in a passenger car, maybe you can have problem with your single, for a single person in your private day to day. If you are speaking about a truck or a bus, obviously the problem will impact more also on the business side or on a lot of people. Moreover, in the truck business, we have a larger attack surface. So we have a lot of telematics embedded, third-party IoT device. We have the different kind of user. We have fleet manager. We have services that we interface, a lot of API to connect vehicle and our cloud environment with other service supplier. So it's a very critical business environment, so failure is not admitted. And last but not least, if you think that a truck of 5 tons will be hacked in the motorway, it will be a very big problem.
That's a scary scenario, of course. Now, as we look at the threat landscape a little bit more closely, what do you think are the biggest cybersecurity risks specific to the commercial fleet and ecosystem that you see today?
So ransomware is one of the biggest problem on the last 5 years, more or less. So it will be injected. It could be injected in our system and maybe also in our vehicle. So to have a ransomware attack, it will be very disruptive in terms of downtime of business operation, but also in terms of damage of the company images. So we have a lot of integration and we need to keep a higher attention when we connect the different services that are not managed by us. As I said before, we have 1,000 of API, so we manage to assure the highest security standard, but nothing is unbreachable.
Yeah, let's maybe dive into the first part. So you mentioned ransomware, and we have seen last year, but also the year before, a significant rise on ransomware, in particular attacks against fleet technology vendors and on a global scale, right? So, what do these incidents tell us about the cybersecurity posture of the commercial fleet ecosystem?
Okay, so what I can say from our point of view is that there is a lot of reliance on a third-party system that can be vulnerable and needs to be integrated to provide the right service at the right cost. But we need to be very careful about the full chain of the supply to have a virtuous circle of cybersecurity in our product and in our supplier. More or less, we have also to be very, let me say, pay a lot of attention to the detection and have a very strong incident response, strong and fast incident response. When we detect something, we need to hurry up to understand if it is a problem or not and to react in the best possible way to contain, isolate, remediate the problem without impacting our business.
Yeah, understood. If we dive a little bit deeper onto these fleet devices that you also mentioned. Now, many fleets today, they rely on aftermarket telematics, so also ELDs and other sensors. How do these integration expose new vulnerabilities?
As I said before, you have to rely on security of maybe unsecure components. It's like the OT stuff into the plant. So there are a lot of devices that were conceived and designed without security in mind. So when you go to this kind of operation, they will take care of patching, obsolete firmware, obsolete hardware, and so on. So there are blind spots in our monitoring, and in some cases, OEM make a lot of difficult to have a monitoring system at 360 degrees.
As I said in our introduction, we also want to shed some light on the electrification. So, as fleets become increasingly electrified, and more, we hear this buzzword software-defined vehicles. So they become more of a software-driven ecosystem. How is this shift actually reshaping the cybersecurity priorities, if they do, for OEMs like IVECO or what you see in the industry?
Yes, there is an old security motto that say the only secure computer is the one that is switched off and closed into a box. So if you enlarge your attack surface, having vehicle on the road that will connect to a port to an unidentified device, obviously you enlarge your attack surface. So the electric vehicle charges real-time deployment of software and so on expose your vehicle to a different kind of attack. It's crucial to have a very strong way to authenticate a different source of connection. So rely on robust certificates and encrypt the key and strong authentication, integrity mechanism checks to assure that everything will connect to your vehicle won't be dangerous.
Yeah. Now, I know that IVECO is very focused and even, I would say from my perspective, a pioneer on this entire vehicle cybersecurity approach and challenges to tackle. Now, can you share your specific approach as a CISO in securing your commercial vehicle platform in today's environment that we just described?
Yes. So just a thing to say that we are We cooperate with our technology and digital team, so the former engineering department, and they are in charge of the security of the onboard. So inside the vehicle you can have 20 ECUs that speak together with specific languages and are hardware and firmware based. So this kind of system are managed by the technology and digital. We manage all the security around the cloud, the connectivity, and the process of, let me say, programming the vehicles in the plant. What we have done is to adopt a security by design approach. So we perform risk assessment, threat and risk assessment for every single component, every single program. We have implemented a DevSecOps program where and every single piece of the software that we release will pass a SAST and DAST test, and then after the design and the implementation phase, we will have a vulnerability assessment and penetration test. All the environment is constantly subjected to misconfiguration check with a monitoring tool that constantly scan for problem. On top of that, we have a very let me say, extended source of threat intelligence that report to us problem around aftermarket violation of our CU, incident, attacks, discovered user and password, and so on, and we immediately manage to close eventually breach on our defense. We have also a live monitoring process with our VSOC. That is a two-layer SOC, vehicle SOC, vehicle security operation center. We collect the data from the vehicle and correlate with Upstream, I can say, and then we pass this data to another CM in the cloud that correlate the data in order to have an end-to-end detection and end-to-end incident analysis.
Yeah, that's quite comprehensive, and I'm sure it's not getting boring because cybersecurity is a cat and mouse game where every time, every moment you need to be aware, as you kind of elaborated. Now, we are almost at half time looking at 2025, and we couldn't have a discussion where we don't touch upon AI, obviously.
Yeah.
How do you see AI reshaping the VSOC, and also does that impact your cybersecurity strategy in what way, and what specific areas are you looking in order to integrate AI-driven capabilities? Nowadays we talk about Gen AI or agentic systems. How do you deal with this topic?
Yes, we are looking constantly at this evolution. So we are looking both of security for AI and AI for security in a different way. Because with AI, I would say that we are not encountering a different type of attack. So the attacks are always the same, but are more sophisticated, are conducted using AI tool that will allow the attacker to deploy software in seconds, to sell, to have a franchised operation and things like that. So the AI, agentic AI, will help the attacker to bring the attack to our vehicle and to our connected ecosystem, but is not for the moment. Is not generating different kind of attack. What we are looking in AI for security is about how to automatize the recurrent task of the VSOC analyst, so to have an enhanced anomaly detection, to continuously correlate multi-source data, and in order to identify the real attack, the real problem, to let me say, don't spend time on false positive on investigation. So we would like to shift from a reactive monitor to a predictive risk mitigation from Telematics, API, and also third-party platform.
Yeah, as we said, it's not getting boring in this industry, and in particular in the cybersecurity. Now, my last question for you today, obviously, what's ahead? So what is next? If you had to offer one strategic recommendation to your peers in the industry, what would it be to stay ahead of the rising threats that we just talked about?
Yes. So as a former FBI director said in the past, security is always too much until the day is not enough. So you still have to invest in continuous monitoring, telemetry-based threat detection. You have to build a collaborative ecosystem between OEM. There are a lot of joint ventures running also for IVECO with other OEM. So maybe there are in the case that we build vehicle or part of the vehicle with the telematics and the connection for another player or vice versa. So in that case, we need to have a sort of security standard that will be deployed for everybody, because we have cases where we need to monitor ecosystem that we didn't build, so we need to have the same way to collect data and the same trust in the security controls. Prioritize every time the detection and the resilience over the compliance, but let me say the compliance in our industry is very oriented to the security process, and to be prepared for the attack, because they will come. No way to avoid it.
Not a matter if, but when,
Yeah.
essentially. Guido, thank you so much for sharing your insights and experience with the audience today. What is clear is that commercial fleets, they face a unique set of cybersecurity challenges. Cybersecurity is kind of a new normal in this complex industry, where also third-party integration and the electrification play a significant role. What stood out for me is how critical it is for an OEM such as IVECO, fleet operators, and also the partners that you work with jointly. It's not just investing in a piece of technology. At the end of the day, what I think the industry is striving for is to become or be resilient enough and get the visibility across the ecosystem, so that as we head forward in the year in 2025 and beyond, I believe, and you confirmed it, it will be exciting to see how AI, autonomous security capabilities will play a much stronger role, and they will define and maybe reshape even the next generation of future vehicle SOCs, right? So I want to thank you so much for this conversation. I've really enjoyed it. I hope the audience will enjoy it as well. And thank you, most importantly, for your leadership in keeping our roads and vehicle fleets secure, because this is a very important task, and you're part of that. So again, thank you so much for having joined this conversation. I really enjoyed.
Bye.